who needs no introduction. That
Oh, my pages are out of order. It's a good start. There we go. Okay. Welcome, everybody, and welcome on this Solstice Day. I'm going to start with a poem by Greta Crosby called Winter. It's a really lovely poem, and if anybody, yes,
Can you speak up a little?
that would be Tom. Is there a way to make it louder for
Can
Jan?
you make it a little louder?
I'll try to talk
There's no
louder.
speaker connected here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll try to talk louder.
Okay.
Alrighty. Winter by Greta Crosby. Let us not wish away the winter. It is a season in itself, not simply the way to spring. When trees rest, growing no leaves, gathering no light, they let in sky and trace themselves delicately against dawns and sunsets. The clarity and brilliance of the winter sky delight. The loom of fog softens edges, lulls the eyes and ears of the quiet, awakens by risk the unquiet. A low dark sky can snow, emblem of individuality, liberality, and aggregate power. Snow invites to contemplation and to sport. Winter is a table set with ice and starlight. Winter dark tends to warm light, fire and candle. Winter cold to hugs and huddles. Winter want to gifts and sharing. Winter danger to visions, plans, and common endeavoring, and the zest of narrow escapes. Winter tedium to merrymaking. Let us therefore praise winter, rich in beauty, challenge, and pregnant negativities. So my comments are titled Darkness in Winter, hopefully not too dark. And they're loosely based on two sermons, one by Reverend Mark Hayes and one by Sidney Wilde. And some readings. It's all kind of patched together, and I hope it makes sense. Today, first day of winter, the day of the winter solstice. It seems like a perfect time to hold still, to still ourselves inside, to behold the glory of the cosmos and take a breath with the sacred, rather than confronting the short days and dark nights as disturbing or depressing. It can be a time to rest and settle into the darkness, a time to contemplate and reflect on our lives. Darkness is as important as light. The cold dark of winter is as important to the life as the bright warmth of summer. So on this longest of nights, let us welcome the night. Let us give thanks for the life, rest, healing, hope, love, and beauty that are offered to us only in the darkness. So we sometimes think of winter solstice celebrations as an invention of the ancient Northern Europeans, but they're more universal than that and go back a lot further. Rock paintings from along the California coast suggest that Native Americans celebrated the solstice long before the arrival of Europeans. Other cultures, Persia and China and many other countries around the world, celebrated with feasts and fires. In most of these celebrations, the message seems to be that darkness is bad and light is good. The solstice marks the moment at which we begin to turn from darkness back into the light. We gain a few minutes of daylight every day. Winter is considered a bleak time, a time of cold and darkness, a time made bearable only by the assurance that it will be replaced eventually by another spring. And of course, if we think about these early cultures, when it got dark, it got dark. They didn't have ambient light and they didn't have electric switches and lights. The Reverend Greta Crosby's poem, Winter, which we just heard, suggests a different attitude toward winter. She writes, "Let us not wish away the winter. It is a season in itself, not simply the way to spring. As I think about the winter solstice, one aspect that's interesting to me, more important maybe than the return of light and the banishment of darkness, is the relationship between darkness and light and how we respond to each. Built into much of our language is the idea that darkness is bad and light is good. I mentioned before. Darkness is associated with fear, the unknown, evil. Light is associated with vision, knowledge, good. But as with many contrasting pairs, hot and cold, large and small, young, old, the two extremes depend upon one another for their meaning, for their significance. If it weren't for the cold nights, would the warmth of an electric blanket be anywhere near as precious? Likewise with light. It is its contrast with the darkness that gives it importance. It's like the sacred symbol of Taoism, the yin-yang, which is defined by black and white next to each other and interpenetrating each other. The yin-yang symbol cannot be made with either black or white alone. It depends on the presence and the balance of both. Artists use darkness to emphasize and contrast with light. Darkness can be used as a counterpoint to areas of lightness to create leading lines and voids. Such shapes draw the eye across the areas of the painting. Shadows add depth and perspective to a painting. And as Ursula Le Guin once wrote, when you light a candle, you also cast a shadow. And remember that darkness, beyond its role in balancing or contrasting with light, has its own positive qualities too. What do you suppose it would be like to have no eyelids to block out what can sometimes be too much light? What would happen to the seeds of plants if they did not have the darkness of the soil in which to germinate and begin their new growth? It's in the darkness of sleep that our bodies are able to heal and rejuvenate. Animals hibernate in the darkness of burrows. They sleep and repair. And winter darkness can bring a quiet calm. And sometimes we need that calm and quiet and the comfort it can bring. Sorry. Winter, whether it is a season of the year, a season of our lives, or the winter lurking in our souls, is a challenge to our spirit. At this time of year, we are challenged by the fluctuating temperatures, the still long hours of night, and the perils of wind, sleet, snow, and ice. At various times in our lives, we are challenged by increasing pain and weakness in our limbs and the decreasing resilience of our bodies. We're taunted by the transient nature of our short-term memories. The winter in our souls challenges us to seek the light amidst the encroaching dark. It is always a challenge which draws from us our best. So at this solstice time, we can, like the sun, hold still ourselves inside. We can reflect on our lives. Rather than confronting the short days and dark nights as disturbing or depressing, Yule is a time we can rest and settle into the darkness, a time to contemplate and reflect. Yule gives us the opportunity to ask whether or not we are still on our correct course. We need to ask that in these times, both personally and collectively. The other major spiritual task of the winter solstice is to reflect deeply on what is no longer helpful or useful or right for us, and to purge ourselves of it, to let it go, to cast it into the fire. These aspects of ourselves can be attitudes, behaviors, beliefs, or values. We let them go to make room for what can be better and stronger for ourselves and for everyone and everything around us. We can resolve to fill that space inside with more growth and more learning in the coming new year.
How are you doing?
I'll now read
You
a
did it?
poem in celebration of the winter solstice, or by, sorry, I don't have the author. In celebration of the winter solstice. Do not be afraid of the darkness. Dark is the rich, fertile earth that cradles the seed, nourishing growth. Dark is the soft night that cradles us to rest. Only in darkness can stars shine across the vastness of space. Only in darkness is the moon's dance so clear. There is mystery woven in the dark, quiet hours. There is magic in the darkness. Do not be afraid. We are born of this magic. It fills our dreams that root, unravel, and reweave themselves in the shelter of the deep, dark night. The dark has its own hue, its own resonance, its own breath. It fills our soul, not with despair, but with promise. Dark is the gestation of our deep and knowing self. Dark is the cave where we rest and renew our soul. We are born of the darkness, and each night we return to the deep, soft womb of our beginnings. Do not be afraid of the darkness, for in the depth of that very darkness comes the first glimpse of our own light, the pure inner light of love and knowing, as it glows and grows. The darkness recedes. As we shed our light, we shed our fear and revel in the wonder of all that is revealed. So do not rush the coming of the sun. Do not crave the lengthening of the day. Celebrate the darkness here and now, a time of richness, a time of joy. And I just thought I'd add a few personal thoughts about winter. This December has been pretty amazing. We had snow on the ground most of the month and quite a few sunny days, and it has really been rather beautiful. And it was, once the snow that first came got cleared, you could get around, you could take walks, you could drive, at least on cleared roads. And it seems like it's been winter for a month already. And now that the snow is melting, like from that rain we just had, you can just sort of see that's the kind of the dark side of winter with the brownness of everything. And the snow really made it kind of a nice month, I hope, for everybody else too. Um, it gets dark. It seems to get dark so early, but we just find that makes such a difference for our winter evenings. We maybe have dinner a little bit earlier. In the summer, you're out running around until 9 o'clock when it finally gets dark. And so you have dinner a little bit early and you have a longer evening to relax and read a book or watch something on TV. And one of the things I love about the holiday season is the delight of colorful lights. We're talking about the dark, but I love, I guess to counteract some of that, I love we have colorful garland around our windows and then a Christmas tree with a lot of lights on it. And it just makes such a difference to be able to have those on in the evenings. But my other sort of a flip side of that is I find lately, in the past year or so, especially, it's not dark enough at night. There's just, we live 7 miles north of Honesdale, and there's so much ambient light in the sky, and I think we even get light from Waymart, and it just is not real dark, at least on clear nights. I guess when there's clouds, it might be a little bit better. Of course, a moonlight night is something different, and that's lovely. But I do kind of miss the dark. I think the Himalayan Institute is over the hill from us, and I think they got new lights in their parking lots because it's definitely not as dark as it used to be in that direction. So maybe later we can talk about some of the things we like about winter and that are delightful. But I think right now I will play our closing song, which is from Gordon Bach, and it is called "How Can I Keep from Singing?" It's one that we have sung together before, and this is actually from Gordon Bach's album, but I can't get his song. It's not in that collection that I have here. So here.
Playing from Pat's cell.
My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails the new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear its music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing? What though the tempest loudly roars? I hear the truth it liveth. What though the darkness round me close? Songs in the night it giveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, while to that rock I'm clinging. Since love is Lord of heaven and earth, how can I keep from singing? When tyrants tremble sick with fear, and hear their death knell ringing, when friends rejoice both far and near, how can I keep from singing? In prison cell and dungeon vile, our thoughts to them are winging. When friends by shame are undefiled, how can I keep from singing? My life flows on in endless song above earth's lamentation. I hear the real, though far off hymn that hails the new creation. Above the tumult and the strife, I hear its music ringing. It sounds an echo in my soul. How can I keep from singing?
Someone like to come up and extinguish the candle? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy solstice. Solstice.
Thank you.
So Pat, thanks.